policies and checkpoints is a form of social domination that is similar to the South African apartheid regime.
I guess I'll take that first. Very quickly, South Africa set up Bantustan, basically, which is what analogy we draw to what's happening with the bank. They set up these Bantustans where they concentrated the indigenous black population, and basically they needed South Africa was a little different, from Israel in at least one respect, which is that they, whereas the Israelis kind of just don't want the Palestinians around, the white South Africans did want them around for economic reasons, to exploit their labor. And so they had a system whereby you could get out of the Bantustan and go and work with a permit, and this was a pass law system. In the West Bank, it's very similar. So for anyone, I mean, although the numbers of Palestinians working in Israel is low, to get out and work on a settlement or to work on the wall, Palestinians are the ones working on the wall and on settlements since they can't get anything else. You have to have this. You have to go through. You have to have a permit to do so, and you have to go through a series of checkpoints on the way. And that's what
it's not similar at all. The checkpoints are a response to a continued and pressing terrorist threat. I do think they're a nuisance, and the complaint is understandable, but Palestinians need to understand where that comes from in a general sense, why they're there, and why the checkpoints exist, to make sure that terrorist activity cannot move freely without interruption. There has to be some sort of means of making checks on some movements of people who could potentially be terrorists. It's a realistic threat, and the charge that the Israelis just want to dismiss and forget about the Palestinians is not entirely realistic. One of the links I have on one of the papers I handed out was only about 25. I didn't have enough to give out to everybody, but some people did get them. The relations are improving because the Palestinian economy is improving. Israelis are outsourcing jobs to West Bank high-tech firms. There is improved relations, and it's not that's what's going to ultimately solve the situation in the large part of economics and Palestinians working towards their own future goals.
The next question is also directed towards Alex. You make a distinction between apartheid and segregation. Do you concede that Israel openly practices segregation towards Palestine?
Well, I've been to Israel, and I've seen Palestinians walking along the beaches in Tel Aviv with Jews. I mean, I'm sure there's segregation, but to call a country out on segregation when the people that it's supposed to be segregating are just doing the same thing on a different level. I mean, I point to the quote again by Mahmoud Abbas, where he says, "I will never allow a single Israeli on Palestinian soil." I mean, that guy is a moderate for the Palestinian side in this situation. While there is segregation, I mean, it does go both ways, and you cannot exclude one side in the situation.
The idea that these are equal partners and they're both segregating each other in the same way. I mean, I've never seen a picture, I've never even heard a tale of a Palestinian checkpoint in Israel, or a Palestinian bulldozer running over an Israeli home. I've never heard of targeted assassinations from Apache helicopters going on in Israel with piloted by Qatar. So, I mean, just that the idea that this is somehow equal is absurd. And whether or not Mahmoud Abbas says that there's, I'm not going to let an Israeli blah blah blah. I mean, well, he doesn't have a choice basically because they're doing it anyway. They're bringing Jewish nationals onto what is supposed to be in the two-state solution, the Palestinian state. So, I mean, and again, what Mahmoud Abbas says is not the issue here. The issue is the fact that Israel is an apartheid state running an apartheid regime with discriminatory practices of oppression and domination.
Oh.
Do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's backtrack. Sorry, next person. There's been a number of questions in this vein, so I'm just going to choose this one. You're complaining, I'm speaking to Mrs. Ellis, about more Israeli deaths have occurred due to suicide attacks. But how about the 2008 attacks on the Gaza and the cutoff of electricity and so forth? The level of deaths on the side of the Palestinians relative compared to the level of deaths on the side of Israel?
It's not a good idea to compare, just to look at the numbers of the situation. I mean, that was the main argument within the, among many anti-Israeli activists that for Operation Cassie, which happened in the winter of 2008 to 2009, that it was 13 Israelis dead to over 1,400 Palestinians dead. I mean, the circumstances are completely different, and Goldstone retracted the report of most of his findings in that situation. And it doesn't make it less of a crime that more people died. I mean, I get confused by that point because it seems to me sometimes the meaning behind it is, don't you think more Israelis have to die before that number of Palestinians is justified? And that's not the situation at all. As Goldstone just retracted his recent report, the point was of his retraction that Israel does not systematically target civilians, and that's a reality.
Well, the thing is that Goldstone retracted that part of it, that's true. He didn't retract the whole report. He retracted the idea that Israel deliberately did this because he saw Israel's internal reports, and apparently he had an epiphany and said, yep, this works for me. Israel's exonerated itself, and that's good enough for me. And then right after saying that, he retracted that. So, I mean, as far as I know, Goldstone still stands by the report, and the other members of the commission definitely do. And they spoke out when Goldstone wrote that first op-ed. The other thing to address is my opponent has a problem with comparisons, I guess, picking them apart. But he alluded it to earlier, but more generally, I mean, the Israeli siege mentality is built around comparison. Never again. Always comparing everything to the Shoah, that the Shoah is, the next one is just around the corner. I mean, if apartheid is such a serious thing that we can't compare anything to it, why can we compare something to the Holocaust, in which, at least 6 million